This video is brought to you by Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN is essentially a virtual private network that makes all of your internet traffic travel through an encrypted tunnel. This way it protects you from spying, public Wi-Fi dangers, and hides your IP address and your online activities. Right now, they're running a Cyber Month deal, and you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.39 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So take advantage of this offer by clicking the link in the video description below.
Isabel, you're gonna feel very silly when this turns out to be all just make-believe. You're wasting your time here.
Nestled in the first portion of Night Shyamalan's filmography, Signs is a tough film to approach. At one point, reacting to the news on the television, Meryl exclaims,
"It's like War of the Worlds."
But his parallel here goes far deeper than the narrative of aliens coming to Earth. Although becoming synonymous with the alien invasion narrative, War of the Worlds, penned in the 1890s by H.G. Wells, isn't really about aliens as much as it is about humanity. Wells said himself that the plot for War of the Worlds emerged from a conversation about the brutality the British inflicted on the indigenous Tasmanian people. He asked, what would happen if Martians did to the British what the British had done to the Tasmanians? In a similar way, the profundity of Signs is not found anywhere near its aliens. It's an incredibly introspective tale which asks a simple question: what is faith, and what do you do when it's lost? Hey guys, what's happening? Niyat here with Film and Comics Explained, and today we're exploring Signs.
See, what you have to ask yourself is, what kind of person are you? Are you the kind that sees signs, sees miracles?
Signs locates itself in a small town in Pennsylvania. Our protagonist, Graham Hess, is a former priest who guides us through the film. After the death of his wife, he renounced his faith and became an honest crop farmer. He lives with his 2 children, Morgan and Bo, alongside his brother Merrill, a failed minor league baseball player.
You've got 2 minor league home run records, don't you?
He has another record most people don't know about. He has the minor league strikeout record.
We meet Graham at a low point in his life, not long after the untimely death of his wife Colleen due to Ray Reddy falling asleep at the wheel and pinning her to a tree. He finds himself living on the farm as a man without direction. Waking up one morning, he rushes out to find his kids have discovered a huge crop circle in their cornfield. Morgan exclaims that he believed God made it happen, but Graham shrugs it off, calling it in to the police. In the meantime, the family's 2 dogs begin to go nuts, barking and lashing out at the kids, something the police explain has been happening to lots of the animals in the area.
Baby, why don't you just change the channel?
I did.
And
Same shows on every station.
ball.
Sparked with enthusiasm, the kids head into town to pick up a book on extraterrestrials. Here we get a peek into the bamboozled populace, each trying to approach the situation with reason.
It's just a bunch of crock. They're trying to sell sodas. I have seen 12 soda commercials so far.
It's a military procedure. Send out a reconnaissance group. Very small. Check things out. Not to engage, but to evaluate.
The book the kids get encourages them to whip out a baby monitor for communication, and sure enough, they pick up some strange sounds. Still skeptical, Graham heads into the crop circle after hearing something and sees a bare grey leg. Getting spooked, he runs back indoors, where the global news is submitting to the idea that it may well be aliens. Reports quickly start piling up of birds falling from the sky after seemingly hitting invisible ships, as does startling footage of a first confirmed sighting in Brazil. After receiving a strange call from Reddy, Graham arrives at his home, where Ray provides an emotional confession to his actions which caused Colleen's death, while also attesting to having seen one of the aliens and locking it in the pantry.
Where are you going?
These places marked in crops and such, none of them are really near water. I don't think they like water.
After spotting the alien, freaking out, and cutting its fingers off through the gap in the door, Graham returns home, suggesting that they also pack up for a lakeside retreat. With the others refusing, they quickly begin boarding up the house. Unfortunately, the aliens come a-knocking, forcing them down into the basement, where Morgan begins to suffer from a severe asthma attack. Waking up the next morning to a radio broadcast suggesting that the aliens are leaving, and with the baby monitor silent, they cautiously head up to find Morgan's medicine. But just as they feel safe, the alien that Graham had scarred earlier appears in their living room, grabs Morgan, and begins to pump poisonous gas into his nostrils. In that moment, Graham's mind flashes back to his wife's final words.
Tell Meryl to swing away.
Suddenly, it all clicks in his mind, and he asks Meryl to, as Colin suggested.
Meryl, swing away.
As Meryl practices home runs on the alien's torso, some water splashes onto its body, revealing that they were indeed vulnerable to water. But Colin's words wasn't the only coincidence. You see, Morgan's asthma attack had actually saved him from the poisonous fumes, as his closed airwaves meant that he didn't inhale any of it.
Someone saved me.
I think someone did.
The film finally concludes with Graham dressed in full reverend attire, indicating that his faith has been firmly restored. Okay, so it's pretty clear that faith is a central theme of science, and we see it play out in two key ways: faith in God and the belief that the aliens are real. Philosophy has given us a variety of ways to understand faith, defining more or less 7 forms of it. Faith as knowledge, faith through epistemology, faith as belief, faith as trust, faith as doxastic, something that is deeply personal and individual, faith as non-doxastic, and finally, faith as a virtue. Science combines all of these to create a holistic understanding of faith from the perspective of a family. The family itself is comprised of a variety of believers. Graham begins the film as a former believer who left his faith.
Maybe we should say a prayer.
We aren't saying a prayer.
I hate you.
I am not wasting one more minute of my life on prayer.
Interestingly, Merrill explicitly labels himself as a believer due to one single event.
I go to lean in and kiss her, and I realize I have gum in my mouth. So I turn, take out the gum. Randa McKinney throws up all over herself.
Locating his faith as a doxastic form of knowledge. Morgan, on the other hand, is a blind believer with unwavering faith, somewhere between a deep trust and an ingrained belief.
So the aliens can't read our minds.
Oh.
Bo, the quietest of the bunch, appears to be a believer through virtue alone, mainly that of innocence.
I don't want you to die. You said I was gonna die.
Breathe like me.
I dreamed this.
The key conflict within the family comes between Graham and Morgan, who are consistently on two ends of the spectrum regarding both the existence of God and the existence of the aliens. While Morgan is willing to believe both without the need for justification, Graham's past has forced him towards skepticism. When Graham addresses this issue of being a believer or not with Merrill, his distinction isn't as simple as one believes and another doesn't. Instead, he highlights the value of such a belief, explaining that a believer feels hopeful and fortunate that there is someone watching over them, while the non-believer feels that deep down, whatever happens, they're alone. Through Graham's distinction, he underlines the ideology that faith has little to do with religion, an afterlife, a god, a creator, or moral justness. Instead, he highlights that the properties of faith have individual psychological repercussions, which impact the way that we live our lives and how we see the world. Just as Graham's understanding of faith shapes how he and others experience the real world, the world also shapes how he and others perceive faith. And just as the death of his wife shook his faith, the coincidental miracles which saved his family restored it, tightening the link between one's own faith and the outside influence of the world.
Is it possible? There are no coincidences.
There's no denying that science points to an incredibly Christian style of belief. Not only is Graham a priest, but the technique found to kill the aliens was supposedly discovered in the Middle East, the birthplace of Christianity, and was in fact water. And well, the iconography of throwing water onto beings to purge them simply screams of holy water. But as holy water drives away demons, it leads us to question whether the aliens were aliens at all.
There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?
Appearing from the unknown, smoked by water, and seemingly driven away by faith, the aliens in signs can easily be read as demons. While this could be taken quite literally, they also represent the inner demons of our characters. Taken this way, all of our characters' arcs come into sharp focus, with each of them overcoming such an inner demon by the film's close. Ray is able to clear his conscience by confronting the alien which appears before him, and calling Graham, a difficult task that he's put off for months. Merrill uses his broken career to physically beat the demon to a pulp. Bo uses her predisposition of disliking water to ensure that there's enough water to exorcise the physical demon, overcoming the blame she always got for leaving such cups around, though she should probably stop that now. Morgan's physical weakness helped him overcome death, and Graham's ability to finally see Colleen's death with full clarity allowed him to kickstart his battle against the alien, saving his family. Sure, they're confronting aliens, but it's not until these inner demons are overcome that our characters are finally able to develop and progress with their lives. This is why, for me, supported by James Newton Howard's unnerving score, Tak Fujimoto's elegant cinematography, top-notch performances from the cast, and purposeful direction, Signs is hands down one of M. Night's best feature films. With that being said, I'd love to know your thoughts about the film, so please share them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, support the channel on Patreon, come join our regular streams on Twitch, and be part of the public Film Comics Explained Discord server. Links in the About Me and description below. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
There is no one watching out for us, Merrill. We are all on our own.
I know what I've done to you. It made you question your faith. I'm truly sorry for what I've done to you and yours.